Welcome everyone to this deep dive, brought to you by the PIQC Institute of Quality. Today, we're really digging into something crucial for all of us, quality professionals and organizations, aiming for excellence. We're talking about the best practices for quality management system auditors.
That's right. And this applies whether you're doing internal audits, looking at suppliers, second party, or involved in third-party certification audits.
Exactly. It's all about enhancing that professional growth.
And we're not just covering the basics today. Our goal is to look beyond just compliance. We're going to explore 10 key habits, really, that make a quality system auditor highly effective, someone who adds real value.
Okay. And these habits, they come from observing auditors in action.
Yeah, pretty much. Observations across quite a few different industries and situations. Real-world stuff.
Great. So let's jump in. Habit number 1, integrity and respect. Sounds fundamental.
It absolutely is. It sounds obvious, maybe, but an auditor's credibility really starts with their character.
How does that play out practically?
Well, it means being genuinely honest, impartial, like really setting aside personal biases. That's key. And of course, respecting the confidentiality of everything you see and hear.
Right.
Think about it. Audits can make people anxious. So an auditor needs to approach things with a sense of humility, presenting findings clearly, yes, but with dignity. No blame, no sarcasm, no judgment. That just shuts people down.
Yeah, that makes complete sense. If people feel attacked, they won't be open. And that idea of independence, staying within ethical lines, that must be huge for trust.
It is absolutely huge. When the people being audited trust your intentions, trust you're fair and objective, they're much more likely to, open up about their processes, and they take the findings seriously as areas for improvement, not criticism.
Okay, that leads nicely into habit number 2, respectful dialogue. You said auditors should be enablers, not interrogators.
Exactly. It's a mindset shift.
How does that change the audit itself?
Fundamentally, it shifts the whole interaction from potentially adversarial to ideally collaborative. It means staying calm, professional, even when things get tricky. It means actively listening, really trying to understand their point of view, not just waiting to talk. And even difficult messages, maybe nonconformities, need to be delivered constructively. The goal is always improvement, working together.
So the way you communicate is just as important as what you find.
Absolutely. You need to tailor your language. Avoid jargon if you can, or explain it. Don't get overly technical unless necessary. Keep it clear, keep it inclusive. That builds trust. It builds those bridges you need for real collaboration, and ultimately for improvement that sticks.
Okay. Habit number 3, self-reflection.
Yeah.
Interesting. For someone who evaluates others, why is looking inwards so vital?
Because becoming a great auditor isn't automatic. It's a continuous process, a journey. After every single audit, taking that time to reflect is, it's indispensable.
What sort of questions should they ask themselves?
Things like, okay, what did I miss? Could I have explored that area more? Or was my communication truly clear? Did people understand? And crucially, did I actually add value beyond just finding issues?
So every audit is a chance for the auditor to learn too.
Precisely. Keep notes, maybe a self-review log. Actively ask for feedback from auditees, from peers. Participate in peer reviews if you can. All these things help refine your thinking, your judgment, your whole professional approach. You grow with each experience.
All right, habit 4 is follow the trail, which you called horizontal auditing. Can you unpack that a bit? How's it different?
Okay, think of how processes flow in an organization.
Right.
They don't usually stay neatly within one department, right? They cross boundaries.
Right.
So a traditional vertical audit might just look deep into, say, the production department. Horizontal auditing is different. It follows a specific process, maybe order fulfillment or new product introduction from start to finish, wherever it leads.
So across different departments.
Exactly. For example, you find a quality issue on the shop floor. A horizontal audit wouldn't stop there. It would trace it back. Was it the raw materials from procurement? Was it a supplier issue? Was it something in the initial design or planning phase?
Ah, I see. So you're digging for the root cause, which might be way upstream from where the symptoms showed up.
Precisely. This interconnected view often uncovers systemic problems, things you totally miss if you just stayed within those departmental silos, and that leads to much more effective system-wide improvements.
Makes sense. Okay, habit 5, authentic SOPs. Standard operating procedures. It's not just about having them, is it? What makes an SOP authentic?
Yeah, exactly. Having shelves full of signed SOPs doesn't mean quality is happening. An effective auditor looks beyond the document itself. They ask, is this practical? Does it actually match how people do the work every day?
So checking if it's real-world relevant.
Right. Look past the signatures, the formatting. Is it a living document? And if the company wrote its own SOPs, you'd also consider, was there real expertise involved? Does it align with regulations? Are the references credible?
So an authentic SOP isn't just for show, for the audit. It's a tool people actually use and trust in their daily jobs.
That's the core of it. Functional, trusted, embedded in the workflow. That's what contributes to consistent quality.
Habit 6, legal literacy. This might feel like someone else's job to some quality folks. Why is it critical for an auditor?
Well, in today's world, especially with global operations or in regulated sectors, think pharma, medical devices, aerospace, food regulations are everywhere. An auditor who doesn't have a grasp of the relevant legal and regulatory landscape. Frankly, they're introducing risk.
So they need a baseline understanding of laws, standards.
Definitely. Key national, international laws, industry standards, specific guidelines, they need that awareness.
And what if they hit something complex, legally speaking?
That's where good judgment comes in. Know your limits. Don't guess. Consulting legal experts or the compliance department when you need to, that's a sign of a mature, responsible auditor. Having that legal literacy means your observations are accurate, defensible, and aligned with what's legally expected. It elevates the audit to a more comprehensive risk assessment.
Okay. Moving to habit 7, reporting with impact. So it's not just listing findings. The report needs to drive action.
Absolutely. A good audit report tells a story. It's clear. It's compelling. Critically, it needs balance. Highlight the strengths you saw, too. That builds credibility. Don't just list gaps.
Right.
And avoid blowing minor issues out of proportion. Focus on defining and prioritizing the critical risks. Always, always back it up with objective evidence.
You mentioned organizing by impact. How does that help get management's attention?
Because it immediately shows why something matters. If you structure the report around the potential impact financial, operational, safety, reputation, leadership, instantly sees the significance. Experienced auditors also try to align their audit focus with the organization's big picture strategic goals.
Showing how the audit helps the business.
Exactly. It shows the audit isn't just a checkbox exercise, but a tool that actually supports business objectives, that earns you trust and buy-in from the top.
Habit 8, audit closure. It sounds simple, the audit ends. But you're saying there's more to real closure.
Oh, definitely. Closure isn't just about ticking off the corrective action paperwork. True closure means the root cause of the nonconformity has been properly addressed, and you can see visible proof that the fix is working and sustainable.
So resisting the urge to close things out too quickly.
Yes. Don't just accept the plan. You need evidence. Verify that the corrective and preventive actions, so APAs, were actually implemented, and crucially, that they're having the intended effect.
It's about checking for sustained improvement, not just a quick fix that fades away.
Exactly. Often this means following up over time. Observe the process. Is the change sticking? Is it embedded now? You need clear timelines, objective evidence of effectiveness, and clear accountability for those actions to achieve genuine closure.
Okay, habit 9 brings in PDSA thinking. The Plan, Do, Study, Act cycle. How does that apply to the audit process itself?
Well, just like organizations use PDSA to improve their own processes, auditors should use it to improve their auditing. It means constantly looking at how you conduct audits and refining it. Revisit your checklists. Were they effective? Refine your interview techniques. Did you get the information you needed? Adjust your reporting formats. Was it clear, impactful?
So each audit is a learning cycle for the auditor too.
It should be. Each audit becomes a kind of prototype for the next one. Learn what worked, what didn't, and adjust.
Makes sense. Continuous improvement for the auditor's own work.
Yeah, and it's especially relevant now with things like virtual audits. You need to constantly assess and refine those remote techniques using a PDSA mindset. Same goes for integrating new tech, like AI tools. You need to critically evaluate, plan, try it, study the results, act on what you learn, not just jump on the bandwagon.
Right. And finally, habit 10. Benchmarking. We hear about companies doing this, but how does an auditor use benchmarking?
So compliance with the standard, ISO 9001 or whatever, that's the minimum. It's the floor, not the ceiling. Effective auditors look beyond that. They bring in insights about best practices, maybe things they've seen work really well in other companies, even in different sectors facing similar challenges. Or they might reference global benchmarks for certain processes.
So even if there are no nonconformities, you can still offer ideas for getting better.
Absolutely. Benchmarking helps identify opportunities for improvement that go beyond just meeting the basic requirements. It's about aiming higher.
How do you share those insights without sounding like you're criticizing?
Respectfully, you offer them as possibilities, as food for thought. Here's something we've seen work elsewhere. Might it be relevant here? It encourages teams to think beyond just compliance, to strive for real excellence. It turns the audit from just a checkup into a catalyst, a driver for getting better.
Wow, these 10 habits really paint a picture of the auditor as much more than just a rule checker, more like a strategic partner.
That's the goal. An audit done with these habits in mind: integrity, respect, dialogue, reflection. That horizontal view, legal savvy, impactful reporting, real closure, PDSA thinking, and benchmarking it becomes a genuine asset.
Yeah, fosters trust, transparency.
And learning, it helps build a culture of continuous improvement.
So these habits aren't just about ticking boxes for compliance. They're really about guiding growth and meaningful transformation in an organization.
Well said. They really are. And maybe as we wrap up this deep dive, the thought to leave everyone with is this. True auditing, it's not really about finding faults. It's about finding possibilities. Possibilities to improve, possibilities to learn, and possibilities to lead with more clarity and confidence.
A great way to think about it. We definitely encourage you, the listener, to reflect on these habits. Think about how they apply in your own role, in your own organization.
Absolutely. Food for thought.